All right, folks, we are going to get started. I see so many folks here, and I'm just so thrilled to have you here for our Jewish Life at Duke Town Hall meeting. Again, my name is Joyce Gordon, and I am the director of Jewish Life at Duke. And welcome to Jewish Life at Duke. I want to I'm going to give you a little brief overview of how this town hall is going to work and who we have with us. But first, a little Zoom etiquette. If you haven't been living on Zoom the way our students have been living on Zoom, then this may be new to you, but I suspect this is probably old hat to everyone. Please mute yourself if you are not already muted so that we can listen to whoever is speaking. There is a chat function here in Zoom that we will make liberal use of. So chat your questions and they will bubble up and we will answer them as best we can. So yes, please let us know when you do have a question. If you are a student, because we want to welcome you and celebrate that you are admitted to Duke, and just very excited that you're here today. So let me tell you how this evening will work. We have a wonderful panel with us today to give a brief overview about Jewish life at Duke. I mean, we're called Jewish Life at Duke, and there is Jewish life at Duke. So we're going to give you an overview of what that's like. We have with us Rabbi Ilana Friedman, who is our campus rabbi. We have our Associate Director of Programs and Leadership, Ethan Helfand. We have our Jewish Agency Israel Fellow, Reuven Remez. We're also very fortunate to have parents with us, Allison and Ken Jacobs from Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, I must say it, go Jags. They are the parents of a current junior and an incoming class of 2024 student as well, and they can give a parent perspective. And then we have two students with us today, Brooke Scheinberg, who is also a junior, and Yoni Ainai, who is also a junior. So this is your panel. Together we have some collective knowledge about what Jewish life on campus is all about. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have time to hear from everyone, and then we will have some time for Q&A at the end. Before I turn it over to Rabbi Ilana, I want to share with you a little bit about Jewish Life at Duke. So we are the Hillel for Duke University. We are both a department within the Division of Student Affairs, and we are a Hillel. So we are special in that way that we are a fully integrated cultural and identity center within Duke University. We provide all kinds of connections. We provide all kinds of opportunities for Jewish students at Duke throughout your 4 years here. So if you are looking for spiritual connection, if you are looking for Jewish education, if you are looking for hanging out with friends and social connection and grabbing snacks and a couch to flop down onto, if you are looking for kosher dining, we are your go-to spot. So we kind of cover everything for you. We have lots of opportunities for students to be involved in leadership, which I know that Ethan will talk about. We have lots of opportunities for students to be involved with Israel engagement, which Reuven will talk about. And we are just the place and the community on campus where you know that there's people on campus who are really looking out for you and for your well-being and who really care about you. That's our goal, is to be the place for you to feel welcome at all times and feel part of the community. And now what I would like to do is turn it over to our campus rabbi, Rabbi Ilana, and she will share a little bit more about our spiritual, educational, and religious programs. Rabbi Ilana.
Thanks, Joyce, and hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm so excited to see you all, those of you who I can see, or at least see your names. And I hope someday to get to be face to face with all of you. As Joyce mentioned, a lot of the work that we do at Jewish Life at Duke is about connection and welcoming people, and that's the heart of what we do from a religious and spiritual perspective as well. I personally think that our center is one of the most vibrant, welcoming, and meaningful spaces on campus, and perhaps of other campuses as well. I can't say for sure, but that's my hunch. We want to be a place that you can connect with your Jewish identity, with your Jewish community, and also connect with Jewish values. In particular, I'm supposed to talk about our spiritual and religious programming and educational programming, so I'll talk briefly about that. I want to lift up one of the core parts of our rhythm at Duke, which is Shabbat, and hopefully the rhythm in many of our lives, because I think Shabbat is so important, especially now where our days are blurring all together. But during the normal semester, we have Shabbat every single week at the Freeman Center for Jewish Life. It is a beautiful experience where we usually have 60 to 100 students, both Jewish and non-Jewish, come together to observe and welcome Shabbat each week after an intense week of academic rigor at Duke. And we have a fun program that consists of a lot of singing and guitars in the beginning with a lot of snacks. It's always important, as you'll note, in a lot of our programming, there's always snacks. And then we have one Shabbat service, which combines lots of different traditions and elements from across the Jewish spectrum. And then for a lot of people, the highlight is, of course, our Shabbat dinners, which always includes, most importantly, matzo ball soup and a copious amount of challah for all. Most important, I think, because Passover's over and all I can think about is bread. In addition to our Shabbat experience, we also have other religious experiences. Our goal is to be your home away from home on campus. So much of that is through celebrating the high holidays in the fall of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, and Simchat Torah. And we provide everything that you need so that you can celebrate those holidays in a meaningful way when you're away from home. In addition, Passover is a big celebration here on Duke's campus. We have a host your own Seder program where we have over 20 Sedarim happen all over campus, hosted by many different students or student groups in dorm rooms and apartments, in backyards, all over the place, with over 700 students attending one of our Seders every single year. It's one of our most, I think, important and meaningful programs that students remark to me often is a core part of their Jewish Life at Duke experience. And lastly, of course, we celebrate Hanukkah each year with Latkapalooza. I'll let some of the students tell you more about that. Too many latkes to discuss here. A little intense for me personally, but a lot of latkes are eaten, and that's a good thing. In addition to all of our sort of religious and cultural touch points, we also have an abundance of educational programs so that you can keep learning and growing as a Jewish student at Duke, no matter where you are in your learning and journey as it is now. So one of our signature programs is the Jewish Learning Fellowship. Each semester we have 20 students participate in a weekly learning discussion-based class over dinner on Monday nights. We also have a weekly Torah club. I mean, it's not really a club, but you just have to show up and then you're in, called the Torah Lunch Club. And then there's always ongoing learning throughout the semester and other opportunities for spiritual and religious and educational growth with your time with us, I hope. And lastly, I'll just say that one of the things about our religious and spiritual components, if there's things that you're excited about or that's important to you in your Jewish journey, your Jewish identity, we're here and we're open to figuring out how to make that happen. One of the great parts about our program, and I think our religious work that we do, is that we want to meet you where you're at and figure out ways that you can express your Judaism and be part of our Jewish community. And sometimes that means that you have an idea, or you have a program, or you have a service that you want to run. And part of our job is to figure out how we can do that and make that happen over the course of your 4 years. So it's definitely a place that you can have an impact. It's definitely a place that I'll have you read Torah on high holidays if you know how, or if you want to learn how. This is a place that if you're a leader, or you want to be a leader, or you just want to participate, we've got space for you. So I'll close there. I don't know if that was 5 minutes, because I'm a bit notorious for ignoring concepts of time. So I'll let Joyce tell me if I did okay later.
Rabbi, you did great. Thank you. Um, Again, thank you, Rabbi Ilana. And now I'm going to turn it over to our Associate Director for Programs and Leadership, Ethan Helfand, who can talk about student engagement opportunities.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on being admitted to Duke. We're so thrilled to welcome you all to the Duke family, and more importantly, to our Jewish Life at Duke family, and can't wait to meet you all. I just want to take a couple minutes to tell you a little bit about what programming and what engagement looks like. And to echo what Rabbi Ilana said, all of the work we do is student-centric. You are the students who are at the center of what we do, and we do it because we want to create a vibrant community on campus that is led both in terms of what we actually do and the ideas that drive what we do, but also on a tachlis level, on like actually doing the work by our students. We have 7 amazing student organizations that we work with, and I know Brooke and Yoni will talk a little bit about them when they chat, but we have the Duke Jewish Student Union, which is our overarching student organization that plans many of our large programs, including the JFAM program, which is our first year advisory and mentorship program, which pairs every incoming Jewish student that we know of with 1 or 2 Jewish upper class students to help integrate them and teach them about what it means to be a Jewish student on campus, but also just to be a resource and a friendly face around campus. Other big programs that JSU is involved with is Latke Palooza, which Rabbi Ilana mentioned. I will actually put a number to the quantity of latkes. This year's Latke Palooza, almost 300 people ate over 4,000 potato latkes, which is a lot of potato latkes. I won't even go into how many donuts and how many pounds and gallons of sour cream and applesauce they ate. Another signature program of the Jewish Student Union is our B'nai Mitzvah program, which is an amazing program where we give students who didn't have a chance to be B'nai Mitzvah growing up. They work with Rabbi Ilana and get one-on-one mentorship to learn, many of them, how to read Hebrew and how to read Torah, and have a full service in their honor. And then the Jewish Student Union throws them an amazing party. We had a really great party at the end of February where we had a live 10-piece brass band come in and play for us in serenade us. So it was a really great evening. Our other groups include Challah for Hunger, which is a group that does a challah bake once a month and sells it on campus to raise money for a charity. The Coalition for Preserving Memory, which does work about remembering and telling the stories of those lost in the Holocaust and other globally recognized genocides. Their highlight event every year is a 24-hour name reading ceremony that usually takes place on the quad right in front of the chapel. We have 3 Israel-related groups that Ruvain will talk about, an APAC-related group, a J Street-related group, and then Duke Friends of Israel that does cultural work promoting Israeli culture, Israeli music, Israeli film, things like that. And then other things that we do are based on what we hear from students. I like to say that Jewish Life at Duke is not like a roller coaster where you have to be so tall to ride the roller coaster. You don't have to be so Jewish to be involved in Jewish Life at Duke. There's a place for everyone. And so if it's speakers that you're looking to hear and somebody that you want to hear, let us know. We will work with you to bring those people in so that we can hear a diversity of voices. If it's looking for leadership opportunities and how to grow and how to partner and how to network and how to connect with other people on campus, let us know. That's what we're here to do. And then everything else we do is driven by what students want. If there's something that you're looking for, we are here to work with you to either connect you to it or to help make it happen. And I will say that our students who we have on the call are really good examples of that in terms of the roles that they've taken. And the last thing I will say is that, and again, to echo what Joyce said and what Rabbi Ilana says, and what I know everybody else will share, is that we're here for you. It is your space. It is your experience on a college campus, and we want to make it the best that it can be for you. And so we work really, really hard and are really proud of the community that we've developed, and we can't wait to see what that looks like for you. And we know that over time, you will find different ways to be involved and different touch points and different memories, and that's what makes it so amazing to be involved in our community. And I also think I kept it under 5 minutes, and I'll throw it back to Joyce.
Ethan, thank you so much. Wow, everyone is staying to time, which is remarkable. Anyway, now we'd like to bring Reuven Remez into the conversation. Reuven is our Jewish Agency Israel Fellow, and he's here to talk about Israel programming, engagement, and travel. Reuven.
Thank you, Joyce. Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you all. Nice to see some familiar faces as well. It's a bit challenging for me to know where to begin, so I think I'll pick up where Ethan left off, and I'll say that to start off, We do have 3 different Israel-related student groups on campus. We have the APAC group that focus a lot on Israel advocacy on campus. We have J Street group on campus that they focus more on trying to look more onto like the foreign policy of the United States and how it connects to Israel and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And we have the Duke Friends of Israel, which seeks to kind of bring Israeli culture on campus, and how can one introduce Israel to others via other means besides the historical or political aspects that obviously there are. I should say that we do definitely have a delegation that goes to the APAC National Conference every year. This year we had about 20 students who attended the conference, and it was a very successful, very prominent group among students. Generally, we are also doing various events on campus, and the APAC group on campus, they have various events like earlier in the first semester this year, they've done mock elections on campus where they're really gone through the process of really explaining to people what different parties in Israel stand for, what their agendas are, and what is actually the history behind elections and politics in Israel, which was very well done, and it actually echoed well beyond our campus. Add to that I've taken the opportunity to have 3 different dinner discussions with students about Israeli politics to really introduce the differences between the American and Israeli system. We naturally also have a birthright trip that was supposed to go in May. Unfortunately, due to circumstances that we can all understand, it was canceled, and we were actually had more than a full bus going. And since this is also my first year, I'm also looking to add in some educational programs for next year, which I'm working on using the time that we have now to really develop those. And I'm very much looking forward to bringing those to the students. And I think I'd like to add one thing that Joyce, Ilana, and Ethan haven't really touched is we kind of make it sound perhaps as if we are very much like in the background of things happening, and it is very much not like that. We spend a lot of time also face-to-face with students. Students come up to our center when they just want to hang, and they just step into our offices. They talk with us. We stay during Shabbat and play Uno or Catan with them, and we just like hang with them as well. So there's also a lot of like personal connection between the staff people and the students.
Thank you, Reuven. Yes, I do want to echo what you've just said. I think we're really in a privileged position on Duke's campus in that we are members of the Duke community who don't grade anyone. And so we're able to have a good relationship with you where students can come up and bounce ideas off of us about things that are unrelated to their Jewish identity and about, classes or, how to approach a professor. And we're not giving you a grade. So oftentimes students will feel far more comfortable approaching us to bounce ideas off of us than going up to a professor. So good point, Reuven. Also, Reuven, earlier in the spring semester, before we were all home, had a huge stash of snacks. Snacks are a trend. We keep mentioning it, of Israeli snacks in his office. So again, come to us for all of the snacks. And with that, I'm going to welcome Allison and Ken Jacobs. Allison and Ken are parents of Sarah, who is a junior, and they have an incoming first year in the class of 2024. Ken is also a Duke alumnus, and so I can think of no better family to talk about the family experience with Jewish life on campus. So Allison and Ken.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. And I am very thankful that I have the opportunity to talk about the impact that Jewish life at Duke has made on campus, because as Joyce mentioned, I do have a very unique perspective on this, not only having both a daughter coming in now as a senior and a son who's about to start, but I can tell you that the atmosphere and environment on Duke's campus, because of Jewish Life at Duke, from the time that I was there 30 years ago, is like night and day. It's really a remarkable transformation. When I was there was no Freeman Center. We basically had a very small office in the basement of the chapel. And if we wanted to have an event, we all got on a bus and went to UNC's campus because they were the only ones with the Hillel House. As you can imagine, the students going to Duke at that time were very disconnected, very unaffiliated. And really, the only connection we had to Jewish life was through possibly a Jewish fraternity that I was a part of. Well, that has completely changed with, first of all, the beautiful Freeman Center. You see pictures of it behind the various speakers, which has made a tremendous difference, and through Rabbi Alana and Joyce and the staff of Jewish Life at Duke. It's really become a home away from home for all of the Jewish students there and allows them to celebrate their heritage rather than attempting to hide it, which is perhaps more the case when I was going. It's really provided for them a core group of friends who can go through experiences together. And the thing that I like about it is it's truly open to all denominations. We did tour other colleges with much larger Jewish populations that would have maybe 4 or 5 separate minions, depending on denomination. This is truly one united body of Jewish students who all go to the same Friday night services and experiences and events. And because of that, I think they have become very, very close-knit and united as one. So not only has this provided the closest friendships for my daughter, but the parents on the line will also be happy to hear that she also met her boyfriend through Jewish Life at Duke. And as mentioned before, it really has provided a tremendous opportunity for leadership roles. So she started on the board of the Jewish Student Union and is now coming in as the incoming president. She also engages in song leading with the rabbi before services. And by the way, those services have continued online for both a song leading session and Havdalah sessions now that we've gone remote. And now they've become so popular that we have parents and grandparents of the students who are all tuning in. It's really become something, and they're all experts on Zoom now that this has happened. So it's been great for them too. And my daughter also started a interfaith program with the Muslim Students Association, where they had a swap of services and really got to know the different practices through that. So there's really as many types of experiences out there that you have time for. And it's been an amazing, amazing experience for my daughter, and really looking forward to my son coming in to take advantage of that as well.
I'm just going to add just a few things. We're very happy that the Jewish Life at Duke is there for our kids now, plural. It's a great welcoming environment, and on Friday nights, if you're visiting your student, you are invited to participate in the services as well. And the best part about it is when Rabbi Alana goes around and says, "What was your good thing of the week?" And then everyone in the whole room gets to participate and say what their good thing of the week is. And we have incorporated that in our house, and we're doing that every day during the virus. We're saying a good thing of the day, and we're writing it down and putting it in a jar, so that we can read them later when this is all over, and we can laugh about it then. So it's really a community for the kids, and it's a safe haven, and it's one big happy family. So I hope that your kids will get involved, and I hope that my son will get involved as much as my daughter has been. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Allison and Ken. I am grinning ear to ear. that you are doing Good Thing of the Day, as we do Good Thing of the Week every Friday for Shabbat. I also want to say that I think our collective Good Thing of the Week last Shabbat was Nana showing up in our Shabbat Zoom. Yes, as Ken mentioned, families are always welcome for Shabbat on campus and during our virtual Shabbat experience. And we have so enjoyed the bubbies and the nanas that have joined us for Shabbat. And we are just so fortunate to have Sarah and now Josh coming to Duke, at Duke. And now we're gonna talk to some students who can tell you about their own experience. And first we're going to start with Brooke. Brooke, please come on and tell us where you are calling from or Zooming from, and share a little bit about your experience. And then Yoni, I'll come to you next.
Hi, I'm Brooke. Before I start, I just want to say that Sarah and I are really good friends, and it's so funny to hear from her parents about she like is as incredible as they say she is. It's like not just her parents saying, oh, she has a cutout head. Yeah. I'm Brooke. I'm currently a junior, so I'll graduate in 2021. I'm from Los Angeles, California, but right now am in New Hampshire, quarantining with a few of my friends from Duke. Yeah, so I'm pursuing a degree in math with a minor in psychology. And I chose to go to Duke overall, obviously Jewish Life at Duke was a big part of that decision because I'd heard so many wonderful things about it. But overall, I toured Duke and just loved the combination of like athletics and academics. And in high school, I actually wasn't like super Jewish. Like I was not super active in my community. And I think initially was kind of nervous coming into Duke where I knew I wanted to be more engaged with the community, but I wasn't sure if it would be kind of like exclusive of like, oh, only the kids who did like Nifty and BBYO and all these things would be like active and that I would feel on the outside. And I think truly from before classes even start, there's this huge barbecue for all the freshmen. And from that moment, like I just felt so welcomed, and there's definitely like no comparison, or like Ethan I think mentioned this idea of a roller coaster, being tall enough to like ride the Freeman bus or ride the Freeman roller coaster is like not a thing at all. I think it's so much about like there are people who are super religious who come every Friday night to Shabbat, who read Hebrew, speak Hebrew, like the whole thing, and they love it. And there are people who like are like, oh yeah, like I had one grandparent who is Jewish, like I've never done anything Jewish, who show up at the Freeman Center like every once in a while, and like everyone in between is welcome, which I think is one of my favorite parts of Jewish Life at Duke, because it's such like a mixed community, but everyone like bonds over the fact that we identify as Jewish and like whatever that means to you. Personally, so like before, like I mentioned before Duke, I wasn't super active, but from coming to Duke, I became really like spiritually involved, but also like socially involved with the Jewish community. I did what Rabbi mentioned, the JLF, or the Jewish Learning Fellowship, which has my heart. Please do it when you come to Duke. It's great. I made a lot of friends through that, as well as like grew spiritually like as a person. And after that, I became the intern for that program, which was also like a great way to kind of try out my leadership skills as someone who is still younger on Duke's campus. And then this past year, while Rabbi was on maternity leave, now she has an adorable baby that she brings to the Shabbat Zooms, which is also great. But she was away in the fall, so a group of us got to lead Shabbat services. And that was also something that was really cool for me, because I came in not knowing Shabbat prayers and now able to like lead an entire service. So for me, that was like, I learned things. This is awesome. And I think another thing that I just want to mention that I didn't realize would be so valuable, but like is so important to me, is feeling like there are adults on campus who like really care about you. I think professor relationships are like cool, but sometimes hard. And like you might have larger lectures, or even if you have a small seminar, you like think your professors are like really cool, but also they're giving you a grade. It's this weird thing. Whereas at Freeman, it's like, there's just these people who are super cool and actually care about you. Like, I know there have been times where I've been like going through things or I need help or advice, and I feel so comfortable reaching out to like Joyce or Ethan or Reuben or Rabbi because they like genuinely care about me as a person. And I think that's something some of my friends who like aren't religious kind of are like, oh, it would be cool to have that kind of relationship. And I'm like, yeah, I have that. So yeah, I think those are my like major things. I think like there's a Q&A session. So if there's anything else that you guys want to know specifically about Jewish life or just like being a student at Duke in general, I love it and think it's absolutely fantastic. So you should come.
Brooke, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. I also want to note that Brooke, are you still on the FAC board? Yeah, Brooke is one of the student leaders who plans orientation for.
On FAC board also.
I'm sorry?
Yoni's on it as well.
Yes.
We're both on it together.
Fantastic. So Brooke and Yoni are not just experts about Jewish life at Duke. They're experts about Duke because they help plan the orientation experience for all the incoming first years. So Yoni, I'm not going to steal your thunder. Please share with us.
Sure. So hi, everybody. My name's Yoni. I'm also from Los Angeles, like Brooke, and currently am in Los Angeles with my family. I'm a sophomore, so I'll be graduating in 2022, majoring with a BS in psychology, minors in music and chemistry. So kind of similar to what Brooke was saying, when I was, thinking about what schools to apply to, what schools to go to, I was kind of looking sort of for this, mesh of rigorous academics, but also sort of a vibrant community. And after applying to all the places that I did, I kind of looked at my final options, Duke obviously being one of them. I remember the night before placing my deposit, to go to whichever school I wanted to go to, I went on both the schools that I was debating between. I went on their websites and I looked at all the different ways that students were engaged on campus. And after doing that, I just scrolled through Duke's website for maybe an hour and a half, and immediately after decided to put down my deposit. I think that Duke is such a unique place where obviously it has this sort of reputation for being rigorous in a really challenging academic environment, but I don't think that any other school in the nation really has as much of a vibrant community that our campus does. And that's something that I'm so beyond grateful for and so glad that I ended up coming to Duke for. Sort of to touch on Jewish life at Duke, kind of similar to Brooke. I grew up in an Israeli family, hence my name Yoni, but and I went to a Jewish elementary school, but my high school was a very small, very non-religious high school. So basically from 7th till 12th grade, religion wasn't really part of my life. It was mostly sort of something that was cultural in my home, keeping up with holidays and those sorts of things. We'd light candles on Friday nights, but never really do any prayers or anything. And coming to Duke, I kind of wanted to keep on with those traditions of sort of culture, but wasn't really sure how I'd fit in with the whole religious aspect of it. And just as Brooke said, like I think it was the 5th day of orientation, first year, stepped up to Freeman for the JFAM barbecue. And from that moment, I've been I've been so involved in this community just from that first time of walking into the Freeman Center. And something that I found really valuable about Freeman and about Jewish life at Duke in particular is that, kind of as people have touched on, it's welcoming of a bunch of different, identities and of different ways that people identify with their Judaism. But that's not the only thing that kind of binds all of us. A lot of us, identify with being Jewish, but there's a lot of other things that we also identify with. And I think that the way that I've sort of become involved with Jewish life at Duke kind of speaks to that idea. So, I served as vice president of the Jewish Student Union last year. I serve on the Hall for Hunger board. And while we do religious sorts of things and cultural sorts of things in those organizations, we also plan events like Friendsgiving, or we play on IM sports teams together. So it's more than just sort of a religious affiliation. It's more than just being at a Shabbat service, but it's really about sort of forming a community, sort of a smaller community inside of this big Duke family that, whenever you find yourself wanting to be with somebody, wherever you are, you always know that you have all these other students who are part of this Jewish family at Duke that you can call, that you can text for anything that you need. So I think that kind of touches on a little bit of, the importance of Jewish life for me. Yeah, and I kind of like Brooke said, I think there'll be a Q&A after. So if you have any questions about any Jewish organizations on campus or anything else about Duke in general, I'd be happy to answer all of those.
Thank you, Yoni, for sharing. I think just to echo what you've just said, um, what I see and what we see is that students use the Jewish community as that smaller community within the big swimming pool that is Duke. And it's a great place to get to know some really close friends, regardless of hometown, regardless of major, regardless of class year. One of the favorite things that I see is students across class years really getting to know one another and develop strong friendships with students who are, a year behind them, a year above them in school. It is time for our open Q&A. And so if you have questions for us about any aspect about Jewish life on campus, about Jewish organizations on campus, about anything that we've talked about the snacks, then please put them in the chat. I also, while I'm waiting for questions to be in the chat, want to highlight our relationship with the Department of Jewish Studies. So many students choose to take classes with Jewish Studies. Jewish Studies offers a certificate in Jewish Studies. It's a department within religious studies. And the professors there, we partner very closely with them on, classes and all kinds of opportunities for students to expand their learning. So I also want to highlight that. All right, so we have our first question. How are the Jewish Student Union and the Freeman Center related? And I'm going to kick that one off to Ethan.
Yeah, it's a great question. So one of the really unique things about us, Jewish Life at Duke and the Jewish Student Union, Jewish Life at Duke is a department within Duke University. We're also affiliated and accredited Hillel. And because we're part of the university and sit in that world, all of our student organizations are independent student organizations, and we have relationships with them. We serve as advisors and mentors. We really work together. But as an organization, and Yoni can also speak to this, having served on the board, they're an independent student organization that gets to do the things that they feel are important. And I will say, for me, one of the most important things that they do independently is the coalition building that they do. Especially over the past couple of years, it has become so important for the Jewish Student Union to build relationships with other cultural and identity center groups on campus, the Black Student Association, the Asian Student Association, Nihente, Blue Devils United, which is a group that supports LGBTQIA identifying and affiliated students, and other organizations on campus to partner together so that when issues arise on campus, students are united and have a way to communicate with each other and come together, and they also work together on different types of programming. It also allows the Jewish Student Union and all of our other student organizations to apply for and receive independent funding for different types of programming and to participate in all different types of activities around campus. One of my favorites that Yoni mentioned, Challah for Hunger. Yoni is the intramural sports chair for Challah for Hunger. And it's just a cool thing that they do, that as an independent student organization, they're allowed to go out for a team. I know they play volleyball and volleyball every year. And I think there was a dodgeball team this year too. But that's a little bit about how they are. We're related in that we work together in every single way, but they also maintain independence as a student organization.
Thank you, Ethan. The next question in the chat is there a Jewish deli or store in Durham? And I'm going to field that one because I have lived in Durham for 18 years now. And I will say I am very sad to say that there's not a Jewish deli in Durham, and I would be the first in line to go through the doors if one were to open. There have been some deli-ish concepts over the years, but not an authentic Jewish deli in Durham. As far as kosher food and kosher dining, the Freeman Center, which is our building, so there's Jewish Life at Duke, which is our organization, and we inhabit the Freeman Center, which is our building. The Freeman Center has the only kosher dining in Durham. There are no kosher restaurants. And so for students who keep kosher, we serve a hot dinner Monday through Thursday, and then free Shabbat dinner on Friday. And the kosher kitchen in the Freeman Center also packages kosher food that is available on West Campus and East Campus for meals that are not dinner on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I wish there were a Jewish deli. If you'd like to come down and open one, please, we would welcome you.
Joyce, Lucky's thinks it's a Jewish deli.
Oh, but it's not.
But it's not. They're well, no.
No, it's not.
Their lox is, in my opinion, I'm just going to get a little editorial for a moment. Their lox is way too thick, everybody. I want my lox to be real thin, and theirs is just too thick. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay, it's true. I also want to say, if you cannot access the chat, you can certainly unmute yourself and we can take your question live. But I do want to also point out another question, which is about the Jewish Learning Fellowship that Brooke highlighted. Yes, Brooke, that Rabbi Ilana mentioned. So Jewish Learning Fellowship is an experience that, so I'm going to give my perspective on it. I'm not a rabbi, and then Rabbi Ilana can follow up, and she is the rabbi. I think it's an experience where you get to make friends and you get to learn Jewish texts and Jewish thinking, including very modern day stuff on your own terms. And so with that, I'll kick it back over to Rabbi Ilana, who will correct me.
No correction needed. I think that is exactly right. It's a chance, as I mentioned earlier, Duke, like most colleges, there's high pressure classes and an academic program. And this is a chance to learn and study using a Jewish lens and using Jewish texts and non-Jewish texts in a way that doesn't have pressure. There are no grades or tests or homework. You simply need to be present each week as part of the program and part of the cohort. So it's a program through Hillel International and has afforded us the opportunity to really dive deep into some big topics in life, like friendship and intimacy and disagreement and our own personal stories, and share with each other each semester. And it's a beautiful way, I think, to spend Monday evenings. And like Joyce mentioned, it's a great way to make friends. A lot of folks do it in their first or second year at Duke. And it's a really, I think, important experience for folks who do it then, because they really integrate themselves into both our center and our programs, and then make a lot of friends through it. So it's a beautiful experience. I'm so grateful that we have it every semester at Duke. And I tell every first year that I meet, this is a great way to dip your toes in if it's something that you're interested in.
Thank you. So I see two more questions at the moment. The first I see is, how many Jewish undergraduate students attend Duke? Right now we have 748, so just too shy of 750. Jewish undergraduate students, which is about 11-12% of the undergraduate student population. Next question, when do most students go on Birthright? I will kick that over to Reuven, who just concluded Birthright recruitment, and we're sorry that we couldn't go this year, and hope to send all those students who signed up on our very next bus.
So regarding Birthright, one, I will say that students are never binded to a specific campus, and we've had some students who wanted to go with other campus trips and others that wanted to go with ours. So it's a very fluid decision based on an individual that can make a decision that they want to go on a specific trip at a specific time. Due to Duke's winter break being relatively short and a bit complicated, we don't usually have winter trips. So we only have one trip per year, and it's a summer trip that we usually try and schedule right after graduation day so we can accommodate all students who wish to join the trip. And I would say, do most students go on Birthright? I think it's a hard thing to really gauge if most students go on Birthright, because some of them go before they come to Duke, like Brooke did. and some choose to not go on it and then just go on a later stage in life, because generally Birthright is a program that is open to people up till the age of 32. So we encourage people to go on Birthright while they're in college and they have no commitments or any like very strict commitments for summers. And that way, if they also go in their early years, they get to make a very good group of friends on that trip, get to know each other, get to make like a real community for themselves that will later go on in their later years in college. And that the reason that we encourage it is because we find it's a very valuable experience to have. And I think that people who go on Birthright, unfortunately, Yoni was supposed to go this year, so he can't attest to that, and Brooke hasn't gone with us, but I'm sure that she can give her perspective going on a Birthright trip.
Thank you, Reuven. I will say to Reuven's point, we do encourage students to go pretty early on in their Duke career, because you'll make friends that you're going to want to hang out with. And it will just be sad if you go your senior year and then you won't be hanging out there with your friends on campus. So I do want to say that. And I also want to turn it back over to Brooke.
Yeah, I, like Reuven said, like I had a slightly different experience because I just went the summer after my senior year of high school, but I 100% think you all should go. It's fantastic. And for me, I had never been to Israel before, so it was just an incredible experience that I feel like it's hard to describe in words. Like, it was really emotional for me. It was like really spiritually meaningful, and it's also just really fun. I think doing it with the Duke community would have been incredible because, like Joyce said, you do get really close to the people that you go on the trip with just by nature of you're doing like really meaningful things and you're spending a ton of time together. To do that with Duke people and then come back and get to like continue those relationships, I think would have been really cool. So I probably would recommend you guys do that.
Thank you, Brooke. A few more questions from the chat. I'm going to answer the High Holiday one because that's, I think, a very quick one. We have all the High Holiday services and all the High Holiday meals. So if we are on campus for the holidays, sometimes it's fall break, sometimes it's not fall break, we are having the full complement of all High Holiday services, all meals, a great break the fast, and students participate in the services. We have both conservative and reform services for the High Holidays, and it's a really great opportunity to be together as one community to celebrate the new year and to celebrate Yom Kippur. Next question, is BDS a vocal organization on Duke's campus? So I want to say that, like every university, there's a variety of political opinion, and BDS is no different. There are students and a student organization that promotes a BDS perspective and point of view. Because we believe strongly in academic freedom, that's their right to do so. And we also have very strong student groups that voice a pro-Israel point of view and educate the community about Israel and about BDS from, a pro-Israel perspective. So I would say that BDS has been pretty quiet at Duke, although has been growing over the past 3 years. But Duke itself has not been a hyper-political campus. So while it may feel for current students that Duke's campus is growing more political compared to many other campuses, it's small potatoes. Next question. Oh, I don't see any other questions. Well, before we close, I do want to say that there's lots of opportunities to be involved with Jewish Life at Duke, not just for students, but also for families. So we rely on parent volunteers as our ambassador corps. Our ambassadors welcome admitted students and are resources to answer questions to families when they are considering Duke and considering and coming to Duke. We also ascribe strongly to, as you'll see on the parent pages, the hashtag Duke Family, that it really is a value that Jewish parents believe strongly in and contribute to the community, that we're all one Duke family, and folks really pitch in. A question from Jaden Fisher: are there any fees to participate on any of the JLD programs? And Allison mentions that she is an ambassador if you have questions. So fees to participate. So as far as High Holidays and meals and Jewish Learning Fellowship, there are no fees to participate. You know, we want to welcome everyone, and we rely on the generosity of donors to make these experiences possible for our students. So no, Jaden, please just sign up. Are there any Jewish fraternities or sororities on campus? And if so, is the Freeman Center connected to them? I'm gonna kick that one over to Ethan, who can speak more about that.
Yeah, so of the historic Jewish fraternities and sororities, there's only one on campus, that's Alpha Epsilon Pi. And we do have a relationship with them. I happen to be their on-campus advisor. In general, I would say that there are Jewish students who are active and members in fraternities and sororities, and also a Duke term that you'll learn, SLGs, selected living groups, all over campus. There are some that have larger Jewish populations than others. Our feeling on this is we think people should be involved everywhere on campus. And while API has existed historically on campus, Ken Jacobs is an alum of API, if I remember correctly. So while we encourage everybody to, while they exist on campus historically, we encourage you to be involved in whatever fraternity, sorority, selected living group, or be unaffiliated, whatever fits best for you. And within those communities, you will find what you're looking for. One of the things that's really amazing, as Rabbi Lana mentioned, we have our Host Your Own Seder program every single year. Of those 20 Sedarim that happen, a lot of them are fraternities and sororities and selected living groups hosting their own Seders. And we have other groups that approach us to work with us to do community service projects, to host their own holiday programming, all different kinds of things. So I hope that answers that question.
Thank you, Ethan. Another question is there a Chabad? So there is a Chabad student group called Chabad Student Group, which is a registered, organized student group on Duke's campus. And there is a Chabad house off campus that the student group affiliates with a Chabad rabbi and family. So yes, there is a Chabad. Would he to see any more questions?
We had a question for Brooke and Yoni that came in privately about your favorite program or event that you've attended.
Yoni, you go first.
Sure. So I spoke about it a little bit earlier, but Friendsgiving this year that the Jewish Student Union had organized has probably been by far my favorite event associated with Jewish life at Duke. It's a new event that we started this past year, and we're hoping to continue as a tradition. But I think it was such a unique experience because although we didn't really, practice religion at that specific event, we didn't really practice being Jewish. All of us were sort of united with this shared Jewish identity, and through that sort of built this really incredible friendship, even just in that one night. It's something that I will look back fondly on, I know, for many years to come, and I really hope that that tradition continues.
I think one of them is buying challah for hunger every Friday when they sell it once a month. They do a great job and it's delicious, definitely like a regular part of my diet at Duke. But my real answer is probably, it's kind of like typical, but Shabbat every Friday. The song sessions and like snack part and the part where we all pray together, and then dinner, for me, just like actually serves as what I think Shabbat is supposed to be, which is just like a break from everything. Like Duke is a fantastic school, but it can be really stressful and hard. And Shabbat for me has just been like a space to take a deep breath surrounded by people who I really care about and who I like feel safe with. And yeah, I think having that as like a place that I can go every week has like kept me together through a lot of Duke, which has been amazing.
I will add one more thing. the amount of time that I've just spent just hanging around in the Freeman Center with my friends or with Ethan and Rabbi Ilana has been absolutely invaluable. So even though, Jewish Life, works on their events, and the JSU and our other Jewish organizations also plan events, I think some of my most fond memories related to Jewish Life have been just hanging out in the Freeman Center.
Beanbag chair naps.
We haven't mentioned the beanbag chairs. I feel that we should go back and do the whole town hall all over again. Thank you, Brooke.
I'm going to add another one in here, Joyce. A question for Rabbi Ilana. If you're the campus rabbi and chaplain, and what does that mean for how you interact with students?
Good question. It means that I interact with students basically every day, all day, and also other parts of Duke, which I'll mention. But for my student interactions, like I mentioned, there's the religious components of Shabbat and holidays, the educational components of JLF and the Torah Lunch Club. But most of my time, or a good chunk of my time, is spent one-on-one with students. I often am on West Campus, occasionally East Campus, but usually West Campus, because that's where most people's classes are, having coffee or tea with a student and getting to know them and talking to them about their lives and their Jewish journey and how they can explore their Judaism while at Duke, or what ways that they can connect more with our community, and getting to know them in a personal way. And for me, luckily for me, that's my favorite part of my job, is getting the one-on-one time with students. And that is how I spend much of it. I will say, as campus rabbi and as most of our staff, we interface with all different parts of Duke's campus. So I'm part of religious life on campus. So I interact with all the other clergy and religious life groups and serve on faith council or an interfaith roundtable, and get to be part of lots of different components of Duke life. But most of the time I'm spending with students, because that's what this is all about.
Thank you, Rabbi Ilana. I also want to bring in Allison and Ken, surprise Allison and Ken, to see what your perspective is on the rabbi relationship with students. You see it from a different perspective, and I think that it's valuable.
I hear about it from my student, and I think Rabbi is another outlet for students to talk to confidentially, where they can say whatever they feel is on their mind and they're not judged. It's another sounding board besides a parent who is sometimes not the best person to discuss certain things with. So I think it's very important that Rabbi Ilana is there, and she loves the kids, and they know it, and they like talking to her, and that's important.
From everything I've seen in the students' interactions with the rabbi, she is absolutely a part of their family, and one that they just really cherish and enjoy.
Yeah. Also, I invite everyone on the call, parents especially, come and join on Friday night for Shabbat on Zoom and Saturday for Havdalah, and you can get a feel for the interaction between the students and the rabbi, because it's amazing.
Thank you, Allison, and thank you, Ken. Before we close, I want to highlight our students one more time and see if Brooke or Yoni have anything else that you are like to add that we are missing, perhaps snacks, because we haven't talked about them.
I think I just want to uplift the thing that Mr. and Mrs. Jacobs just said. I think that's completely true. I know for me, I've been able to talk to Rabbi about really personal things. I've also had some friends who have gone through just like hard things at Duke and have can't speak highly enough of how available Rabbi makes herself and how helpful she is for us on campus. And whenever I talk to someone who's like, yeah, I'm Jewish, but I'm not super involved, or I don't know what to do, I'm like, just get coffee with Rabbi. If you don't do anything else, at least get coffee with Rabbi once while you're here. So she's incredible. We're really lucky.
Yeah, and I know all of us have sort of joked about, the theme of snacks, and it's come up a few times throughout the chat. But I think that kind of speaks to maybe a sort of larger, you know, thing about what Jewish Life at Duke is. It really is a community for any single person who wants to be part of it. And if somebody is not involved with Jewish life, it's not because they aren't welcome. It's because they chose not to be. Um, every single person who I know that has gone to Freeman has just fallen in love with it. And um, this idea of snacks keeps coming up because at any point, at any time, and Ethan loves to say this, but the Freeman Center is our building. It's the students' building. It's our sort of place to be Jewish. It's our place to express our identities. It's our place to build community and to be social and be Jewish. So I'm really appreciative of Freeman just for that purpose, and obviously the snacks as well. But
Thank you, Yoni. I do want to say that we talk a lot about Jewish Life at Duke and the Freeman Center being a Jewish student's home away from home. And to really dive deeper into what home away from home means, I think that a home away from home on Duke's campus means a place where you can feel comfortable, let your guard down. When you're at home, it's a place that you can open the fridge, you can open the cabinets in your own home. And we want that experience for students too. When you're in your own home, you know that there are trusted people who care about you. We want that for students too. When you're in your own home, hopefully you're learning something. There's books available. It's somewhere where you are exploring, and we offer that to students. When you're in your own home, there's some responsibilities. You might have to load the dishwasher or empty the dishwasher, and we have some responsibilities too for students. Perhaps a little more fun than opening and then loading and emptying the dishwasher. Brooke mentioned pitching in with leadership to be part of our Shabbat squad to offer Shabbat services. Ethan mentioned an array of amazing student leadership opportunities. So we really take home away from home seriously and use it to guide the experience that we offer to students. And so we are posting in the chat, and I will also vocalize here. Please reach out to us with other questions and thoughts. We are happy to answer your questions and to welcome you again to Duke. You can visit our website for links to our Shabbat Zoom and for our other programming to reach out to us and to ask us any questions. And I see that Rabbi Ilana and Brooke and Allison and Ken are saying, please join us for our Shabbat Zoom. If you join us for Shabbat Zoom, we're going to ask you your good thing of the week. So we hope to see you there. I want to thank all of our panelists for sharing their perspective. Thank you, Yoni. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Allison and Ken. Thank you, Reuven. Thank you, Rabbi Ilana. Thank you, Ethan. I want to thank Aviv and Lena, who also work with us at Jewish Life at Duke, for helping moderate in the chat. You can email us at jewishlife@duke.edu for any questions. And we're just so thrilled to have you here and for you to be part of the class of 2024 at Duke. So with that, we'd like to thank you and say good night to everyone. Good night.